let's assume we're somewhere around recession point now, then crypto's job is forward looking to start discounting a recovery and liquidity and central banks printing money or rates being cut. Equity markets done the same. What people are making the mistake is they're being very mid-curve. They're saying today inflation is at X. Well, where is it in the future? Today growth is Y. Where is it in the future? Today the central banks are raising rates. Are they going to be doing that in the future? People argue about today as if that's what matters for markets.
Former hedge fund manager Raoul Pal has made a bold statement about Bitcoin and the entire cryptocurrency market. Goldman Sachs chief economist Jan Hatzius said on Monday the bank was cutting its probability that a U.S. recession will start in the next 12 months to 20% from an earlier 25% forecast. Hatzius said the U.S. central bank will most likely hike rates by another 25 basis points at its rate-setting meeting next week in what he expects will be the last hike of the current monetary tightening cycle. According to Raoul Pal, we are presently experiencing a recessionary phase, and cryptocurrencies have a crucial role in anticipating and incorporating the potential recovery, along with the impacts of liquidity and central bank interventions. XRP is the fifth largest cryptocurrency with a market capitalization of $37.8 billion. Ripple uses it to transfer money across borders. Ripple, however, disputed the claims, insisting XRP cannot be considered a security and is more akin to a commodity. Last week, a U.S. district judge, Annalisa Torres, ruled that Ripple's XRP is not a security when traded on secondary exchanges, even if its institutional sales do meet that definition, handing Ripple partial victory in a case that dates back to 2020. According to Pal, the rapid relisting of XRP by Coinbase is a significant development that signals increased comfort among institutions towards the cryptocurrency. During the recent recovery phase, Solana outperformed Bitcoin on the price charts. Notably, between mid-June and mid-July, Bitcoin rallied from about $25K to more than $30K, a 25% increase. Solana railed by 100% in the same period, rising from $14 to $32. According to crypto data firm, Ethereum topped the first institutional-grade crypto ESG ranking, followed by Solana and Cardano, while Bitcoin lagged due to its heavy energy usage. Pal predicts Ethereum to outperform other cryptocurrencies based on analysis. It's worth noting that during bull markets, certain cryptocurrencies tend to experience exceptional growth. Presently, Pal's focus is on Solana as a promising contender in this context. Here are a few glimpses from the discussion that we'd like to show you. Before we proceed, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon for more updates.
We just got some very interesting news out of the USA that XRP has been deemed not a security. So just what's your hot take on this situation?
I mean, we thought the good news coming was going to be the ETF. We knew this was in the background. I always had a decent probability that this was going to happen, but it dropped like a bomb today, and XRP is up 75% in a day. But what it does is say it shows that the regulators are overreaching. Now, we don't have that around elsewhere in the world because most of the regulators elsewhere have been reasonably decent about crypto, but the US was the one that weren't. You know, Gensler was really attacking the space. So what that's done is unleashed so many of the larger alt tokens that launched in similar ways to XRP that should not be deemed as security, and that's going to make the space more investable. At the margin, it allows others to enter into the space. We saw XRP get relisted by Coinbase immediately. Okay, that's a big statement. It means that institutions will be more comfortable around it. That allows more people into the space. So people who might have been nervous of Solana or some of the others may look at this now and say, look, the probability of those being called a security is now becoming much smaller by the day, and therefore the risk profile of owning these things is much lower. My view for a long time is while I like Bitcoin, I'm more predisposed towards the broader ecosystem itself, because I think the whole of Web3 and crypto is a much larger thing than just a store of value money component, which is an important part of that in itself. And so therefore, I've tended to have ETH as my larger bet, and I've had that for a long time because my thesis is these things are all valued on Metcalfe's law, which is network effects, and that's the number of people who use it and then the number of applications really that go on. Now, ETH's equation within that is there's actually more users. The amount of activity is higher because of all the applications, but the sizes of the transactions are smaller. But because so much is being built on top, the network effects grow over time. So over time, I expect it to outperform. But in each bull market, there's another something that does really well. And my eye is on Solana because it's got a large ecosystem, a lot of developer activity, a lot of applications layer tools. Now, does that work or not? I don't really know, but I think it's a reasonable probability bet that it's like kind of ETH was in 2018-19, came from the dust down 97% and survived.
BlackRock CEO Larry Fink said, as with any new markets, if BlackRock's name's going to be on it, we're going to make sure it's safe and sound and protected. BlackRock released its second quarter results on Friday with adjusted earnings per share of $9.28 and generating $4.46 billion in revenue. Notably, the company's assets under management have surged to over $9 trillion. According to Raoul Pal, the irony lies in the SEC's actions of suing Coinbase while simultaneously approving them as a significant part of the ETF mechanism. As per Pal analysis, if the current trend of rising prices continues and Bitcoin reaches 40,000 before the ETF is introduced, it is highly probable that a state of blind panic will ensue.
My personal opinion, and look, I know nothing, is that Gary Gensler was under a lot of fire politically because of saying no, 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 no to everything. And he had said that Bitcoin was not a security. So therefore, it becomes really difficult not to allow or to appease the politicians by saying, look, I've passed the bloody Bitcoin ETF. At least I've done something. You know, I'm comfortable with Bitcoin. So my guess is he gave the nod to BlackRock and said, listen, I need to do something. We're going to do this. And they've obviously have an open conversation with the SEC. The SEC had given the guidance as we will accept this if you do this. So they all did it. What was really amazing within that, bit of humble pie, that the SEC is suing Coinbase while at the same time are going to approve them as a major part of the mechanism of the ETF. And it kind of shows the incongruity of this ridiculous situation they found themselves in. Then you add the XRP ruling, and it makes it really hard for them to stop some of this stuff. So, you know, I think Gensler probably comes under more political pressure because of what's just happened as well. It kind of fuels the politicians, the pro-crypto politicians were like, this is not sustainable. And Gensler's opinion appears to be wrong. So the overreach argument. So overall, these are really good things for the space. Now, the Bitcoin ETF, I've always said the ETF doesn't matter unless the market has momentum. If it has momentum, it becomes a sucking sound of bringing in RIAs in the United States and individual investors and pension plans and others. And lo and behold, we're in the middle of crypto spring where things are starting to really warm up. And that sound of FOMO you hear in the distance is thundering closer and closer. And that's going to bring these people in. So if we continue the way we've been going and prices are rising, and let's say Bitcoin's at 40,000, by the time the ETF comes in, there's going to be a blind panic. Because everybody kind of knows that it's very cyclical as an asset. And that when the cycle goes, it can have tremendous returns. So I think that's going to be in the back of many people's minds who are out of the market right now. With the Bitcoin ETF, they're going to be more enticed by it. So look, it is very positive. And that capital flow that comes into the space, let's say $10 billion comes in the ETF, whatever, that money then flows into the space. People take profit in their original Bitcoin, it gets reinvested into ETH or Solana or whatever else. And then before you know it, recycles into NFTs, because all of these digital assets is a kind of global economy, a separate global economy made up of smaller economies like ETH and Bitcoin. And once you have new foreign direct investment into an economy, things boom. And that's what's going to happen.
Bitcoin, the leading light of the crypto market, broke resistance at $31,000 and has pushed to a new high not seen in more than a year. Other cryptocurrencies are also performing well. Blockchain tokens such as Solana, Polygon, and Cardano, which had previous run-ins with the SEC, rose by roughly 15%. Ripple's XRP registered an impressive ascent, catapulting more than 70% to 80 cents. Coinbase, a giant in the crypto exchange space and previously in the crosshairs of the SEC, has seen its share price rally 24% to its highest value since August 2022. What is your thought about the future of cryptocurrency? We encourage you to share your views in the comments section. If you found this content informative, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for the most up-to-date news and videos. Thanks for joining us.